Hello, this is a training video to teach you some basic all-in-one report skills. Everything that we'll cover in this video will technically be possible already in this variable query or services report, basic reporting tools. Uh, the reason why you would want to do this in the all-in-one reports is either because sometimes people find the all-in-one reports more intuitive than those other basic reporting tools, and the other reason why would be because maybe you want to learn your basic skills before you start doing some of the more advanced things that can't be possible in some of those other reports. Okay, so let's get started. We are going to begin with a new report. We're in the report section already. We can say all in report, give us a new one. And we start off with this blank report page. And we're just kind of going to go top to bottom and talk about what we see on here. First thing is select which master table we want to run this report off of. So you'll see potentially clients, you'll see maybe children or household members, something like that. So you might see another thing for like data forms or miscellaneous data. Uh, you might see some point in time tables in here if they meet certain conditions, but mostly you're going to be running off of clients and children and miscellaneous data if you're doing basic reporting tool, running a basic report. Next, we see the status of the report. So it's just going to let us know if everything's okay or if there's any kind of errors we need to address. We'll keep an eye on that over there. And here we have the elements to add. So these are the different blocks that we'll use to form our query inside of this query where. And we'll do that now. So we'll kind of start off bringing this column condition over and saying, okay, we want to run a report, let's say, where the client is on gender. Okay, so here's a drop down where you can select all the fields that are in your system, essentially. So there should be organized based off of how they're organized on your all client data page. And the point in time blocks are kind of in their separate sections here. And then the activities blocks are in their own sections down here. And then you'll see maybe some other ones here that are more advanced, and we won't really go over those in this video. So we can say, we want to run a report off of, I just saw it, where was it? Gender. Okay, gender equals female. And look at that. Down here in our columns and results, we see a list of all the clients in the database right now who are female. Probably don't ever really want to say something like, show me where all equal female. We kind of usually want to say something like, I want to see of the clients who've been active recently, I want to see who, like the ones that are female. So that's why we have this active clients block. We can drag this one into, and we can say active in all programs from this date to that date. Obviously we can click here and change it, say it's from the beginning of the year. And now this is saying clients active in all programs who are female. And potentially this will be much more helpful to you. We can change this to say specific programs. These little icons here mean select none, so clear out all those. Or maybe we want to say, oh, just kidding, select all of them. But you could say, if you have a bunch of programs, you could say, show me, clear out all those and just do non-residential. And now that switches like that. And you can also play around here in different ways to say active by particular user, active by a bunch of users, all in a user group, and maybe other things like active by which people who are in particular rooms or residential units. But most of the time you'll be picking program here like this. The active by program and active by user methods are kind of these kind of built-in EmpowerDB, very specific methods for getting active clients by program and user. They're used in pretty much all the reports, and they're used in other places like, deciding who should show up in the data completion reminder section, blah, blah, blah. There's a documentation article in the report section that explains very clearly how the system is getting which clients are active, like what that pre-built method is. But it does tend to work really well and kind of matches what you would expect an active client to be. Okay, so we've got our results down there. We'll kind of focus more on in a bit on doing some cooler things down there with the results. Let's say we also wanted to have something like well, not just female. I want to get also people who have are LGBTQ. Okay, so this says LGBTQ, yes, and female. So now we've narrowed it down even more. But let's say you wanted to say, no, 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 I want it to be female or LGBTQ. Notice how when I've been dragging in these column conditions, it has been creating these like and things in there because it's kind of guessing. You probably mean you want and, but now we can say, no, 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 I want to replace that with an or. So female or LGBTQ. And now our report status is yelling at us. You cannot switch between an or and an and in the same kind of line here. You know, our human brains might look at this and be like, well, obviously I mean people who are active in this program and people who are female or LGBTQ. How come we can't figure that out, computer? But the computer's not as smart as you. You got to tell it. So the way we tell it what we mean in this way is we put in parentheses and say, okay, we're going to group this together and say this or this and that. And now our list has gotten much bigger and we can see that this is going to be either females or people who are LGBTQ. All right. We also could put in a not in here to say like maybe like not people active in a certain program. So like maybe active in residential, but then exclude everybody who was active in the shelter during that time. So nots can be used every once in a while. It's kind of a little bit more rare, so I won't do the full example. Maybe you get it. And then let's talk about some of what these other things are. This is a little paragraph symbol, and these remaining ones really just kind of help you like clean up. If this visually looks better to you, to be like, okay, that um, and that, you know, just it's your preference about what makes sense to you. Obviously, if it's a really simple like two or three conditions, you might not need this at all. But we have people who build quite complex things, and it's very helpful to kind of have a way to, you know, you can even like indent with these little things and say, okay, I personally would never do this, but you know, it's up to you how you want to format this. It doesn't change the query at all. It's just about how it looks. And then you can put in a little comment block and must do XYZ, you know, something like this. So this is kind of a way to kind of explain what your query is doing. Again, if you've got something really complex, then it's helpful for you to remind yourself later or for you to kind of give an indication to other staff who might be seeing this. Okay, so aside from some of the weird formatting things I just did there, I'm pretty happy with my query. And I'm looking at my results and I'm liking what I'm seeing, but I need to see more. I need to see more things about these people. I didn't. Sometimes you really just do need a number, and you're like, okay, down here, 12 people. That's what I need. Great. But let's say you wanted to see the race of these people. So on the top right, we're going to click on Add Column and open up. It's a very similar list that we saw before when we were looking at our conditions. And we can say, show me the race. And now that column gets added. We can add lots more columns. Just keep on going. I want to see the marital status too. Now let's take a look at, just to give an example of kind of how this goes, let's look at their location. Okay, now let's look at, all right, something weird has happened here. Our list of choices has shrunk dramatically. What about the other point in time tables? What about other activities? How come I can't add those? That's what happens after we added this address location point in time field. We can only ever add fields for the main table that we're running the report off of, client table, and one of the other tables here. We can't add in fields from multiple other sub tables. Okay, so now if I remove that, now I've got that full list again. There's a reason why. You can click on this help article to read about the reason why. And there's kind of a way to work around this if you really do need information in there. And we'll go over that in our advanced video. And this help article explains how that workaround works as well. Okay, so I don't want this. Let's get rid of it. Oh, by the way, we can click on these three dots settings of a column, and we can do things like rename the column to whatever you want. We can do things like set the column width. We want to make this really wide. We can do things like remove it. We can do things like group this column. So now we're grouping by race. And now that we've grouped by race, we can see here that it's showing this list of these clients that are in this grouping. When you group one column, it will kind of take a guess as to how you want the grouping on the other column, like the grouped row, to appear. And here it's guessed that it wants us to, we want to see a list of entries, but we can change that by going into the combine into settings. And instead, let's say, show me a count. And now we can see there is 9 clients who identify as white and 1 on each of those other ones. The lots of different things can happen in here. I would just say, like, the should be pretty intuitive about what each one of these things means, and feel free to experiment and play around and seeing what makes sense to you. Let's get rid of this marital status column. We can change the order of columns by just clicking and dragging them around like that. And at this point, we're looking at a grid of information that's probably pretty similar to what you might be able to do in the variable query report, where you could say, like, show me the race of clients who are active and non-residential and meet these 2 conditions. And it would give you something pretty much just like this. But again, we're doing it in here because we like the idea of being able to have lots more flexibility to do fancy other things later. Okay, let's see if there's any other things in this list of column like settings that are interesting. Let's say we did have that marital status thing back in there, and we said, okay, I like that it's around, but I don't want it here right now. We can say hide, and now it's kind of gone, and it's in our hidden columns here. We can always bring it back like that. Show raw value is an advanced thing. This is an advanced thing. We'll cover that in the advanced video. Okay, let's talk about, let's talk about sorting. Yeah, that's a thing that we didn't do on quite yet. So right now, I'm gonna ungroup this. And right now, the order of things is just kind of like little bit random. So we can change the sort order. Oh, is it alphabetical by here? I don't know. Let's tell exactly what we want. We want to say sort by this column in ascending order. There we go. Or we can say sort by this column in ascending order. There we go. When we group by a column, and now we change this back into account, we can say, I want the outer sort to be in ascending order. So that kind of like grouping the grouped rows, we want that to be in ascending order. And then we can say we want the inner sort, let's just descending, just so we can really clearly see what's happening. So now when we open up this inner sort, this grouping for white, it's sorting the names in reverse order. Or not, because Taylor Swift's in there. I don't know what's going on. Oh, inner sort, whatever. You would never want to do this. So it's inner sort ascending and descending would be more like when you have like date fields in here. We'll do an example like that in a moment. But just to say that you can sort inner sort ascending and outer sort ascending affects either the outside grouping rows for outer sort, and the inner sort affects the inside grouping rows. Okay, now let's take a look at the last bit, a couple bits down here. So this report is set to only show us 100 entries. The limit is 100. Now that's not really affecting us because we're only getting 12 entries in there, but we can change this to say, show me a limit of 10. And now it's saying, okay, here's your 10. And we've got an extra row saying that you have 2 results not currently displayed. You need to increase the limit to view it. So one thing that can happen is that you might be sorting this alphabetically, and you might kind of have this thing happening where you've got 2 results not currently displayed, and those 2 results that aren't being displayed, it won't be like someone's name who comes after at the end of this alphabet. Like if somebody's name was Zeba, it wouldn't be like, okay, the last 2 people in the alphabet are being removed. What's going to happen is it's going to essentially pick 2 random people and remove them. And that's just one of the after effects of the zero knowledge encryption features of EmpowerDB, is like sorting encrypted names. It's really complicated. That's also why we're seeing a little bit of weird things here where N should be up there. I'll take a look at that after recording this video. I don't want to record the video. But there's a help article in the all-in-one report documentation that explains in more detail why it's essentially random which 2 people get cut off. But at least it's telling you that you're missing 2 people in there. If you really need to know those people, you increase the limit, and that goes like that. You can say, all right, I want to make it so that there's no limit. But if you've got thousands of records in here, maybe don't do that, because it will take the system a very long time to return the results. You will sometimes see up here like results working, and if a query takes more than like a couple minutes to process, the system will give up on it, and you'll see a message saying the query was terminated, and I'll give you a help article about what to do about that. But it essentially means that if you made a query that takes more than 2 minutes to process, there's almost certainly a more efficient way to do it. We'll be very glad to help you work out the more efficient way to get the answer you're trying to get. So just let us know. Okay, so we know what that limit is now. We know, and then now let's take a look at these checkboxes down here. So we're saying, yeah, I want to see the data rows, but I can turn that off to say like, I don't care about the data. I just want to see the count at the bottom, or I just want to see the sum. So right now we don't have any fields right now that are like numerical. So our sum row down here isn't getting us anything, but I'm going to show you another example in just a moment where we can see a lot better information down here for things like sum and average. And last down here is a MELD report, and this is a advanced feature that we won't cover anymore in this video. Okay, so let's say we've made this report and we're super excited about it and we want to save it for later. We can click Save on the top right, and we can give it a name, Amazing Report, and we can put it in a folder. So we can categorize these reports by folders. So if you wanted to make a brand new folder name, new folder, you can do that. Or you could say, I want to put it in my existing sample reports folder. You can also say who has permission to change this report, or who has permission to view this report. So you could potentially say, hey, I don't trust my staff to not screw up this amazing report that I just made. So I want to say only users who are site administrators can change this report, view it, edit, change, delete it, and then everybody else can view it. You might say, I only want my account to change the report. Or only maybe something like, I only want users, my account to change the report, and I only want the users in the non-residential program to be able to view it. Okay, this view only permission, this is only saying who has permission to access this report link. These reports know to never show data to somebody that they shouldn't be able to see. So like if there's a user, if you didn't set that permission to say should make it only visible to non-residential, and then all people were allowed to see it, then someone who didn't have permissions to the non-residential program would be able to click on this report. They would see this report up here, but then the results down here would say like, sorry, everything is blank because you don't have permission to see any of these results. So that does mean that if you have really unique permission settings within your organization, then one user who goes to a report might see a totally different value than another user who goes to the report. And that's what you get for having weird permission settings. We can help you out with solutions, ways to work around that if you are flummoxed by what to do. Okay, so we've saved that report. That's great. We can decide that we didn't actually want to do that and press delete, and it gets deleted. We can edit the name and the permissions by doing that. And we can make a copy. So let's say we're like, oh, I want to make a report very similar to this, but I still want to keep this one. So we can click make copy. And now we can say, okay, I want to make this one be for legal advocacy. And now we get different results for this program. And then we could save this one as well. Okay, so these saved reports will show up in our list of all-in-one reports down here. And we can open this up, sample reports, and see our amazing report we just made. Okay, let's do one other example and say I want to see some things about services. So let's say active in all programs from the beginning of the year. And I want to see what types of services received. Okay, so Abby had this and this and this. We can open this up and see this grouping and saying it was a bunch of those things. We can say, oh, I want to see the dates that were happening. And now here are the dates. And now you might be looking at this and saying, wait a minute, February 4th, 2021, Stephen, we said active from January 1st, 2023. Why are these services before 2023 showing this results? And this is to demonstrate a very common misconception or an error people make. This active by block, this is only returning a list of clients. So Abby was active at some point in 2023, probably through a residential program. So it's saying, okay, yep, here's my list of clients. These people were all active in 2023. By the way, these names are all fake demonstration names, so just to make you know that's okay. So these people were all active in 2023, and here were all their services across forever. And you probably don't actually want that. So you could come in here and say, oh, and I want to see services that happened now, because we're working on a column that's like some sort of numerical value, like a date or something like that. We have the options of saying either exact match, like show me the people who were served on a specific date, which is probably not what you want to do. We could say greater than a specific date, greater than or equal to a specific date. So that's what we want to do here. And we want to say, show me the people that had services. So show me the people who are active in 2023 and show me their services that were active, that were as of 2023. And now in our results, we see all these things are just the services from this year. Okay, So that kind of clears up one misconception. And we're also creating through this thing a whole other new misconception. And that is we don't even need this active in block. All we care about is I want to see the services after 2023. We don't need to, it's going to be totally redundant um, to have this whole like active in 2023 thing in here because we're already getting through this the services in 2023. So we can get rid of this completely. We can drag it into that elements to add thing to get rid of it. And the results are totally the same. Okay, so the active in block just gets you if you need to narrow it down by a program and you don't have another way to do that. Some some of you have in your list of services a way to say select which program the service was for. And if you have that, then you would definitely do that and say like if you only wanted to see the services for one program, you would set it through here. You would say select the services from this program, and then you would make sure you marked the program that you wanted through there. And then you would not have this active in block here because it's again totally redundant, making the system do more work than it needs to. Okay, I want to get rid of these things again, and I'm going to do it by showing you some of the keyboard shortcuts here. It's noting down here in kind of light gray, but we can press Control on our keyboard, and then our cursor changes to this icon, which I don't love, but the browsers only give you so many icons you can choose for these types of things. So I'm going to click on that and say, get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that. Okay, so we are seeing our list of results down here. These are all our services across the whole organization that our account is able to see, and we're grouping by client. Maybe we want to, it's groups by default by client. We could choose to group by service type if we want to see other things. We can maybe take a look and say, okay, it's showing us a range in our grouped row. It kind of knows we want to see let's find somebody who has more things. Wow, this one. Taylor Swift. So it's showing us a range here, the first service to the last one. We can make sure it's really clear. We want the inner sort to be the earliest to latest. It was showing it like this kind of coincidentally, but it's kind of good to always kind of check in here and be like, no, I definitely want the inner sort to be in ascending order. And now we want to say like maybe the combine into, maybe we don't actually care about the dates. Maybe all we care about is like give me a count of the unique times they've received services. So here we're seeing 6, let's see, yep. So there's 7 rows, but because these two are the same, we're getting a count of unique. And so maybe that's saying like these are the days. She had 6 days where she received services. So that could be helpful too. Sometimes you want to say combine into and show me the last one. So whatever one is the last one. That's another thing happens a lot. So it's like this is their latest date of service. You might want to come in here and rename the column, say latest service date, something like that. Maybe we want to combine this into, let's turn back on this count and let's just say count of all. And these are the count of all the services she received. Now let's turn on the sum row, and now we're getting some good stuff in here. We have 18. This is showing us a count of the rows above. So there's 18 rows above, but adding up the numbers in there, we get 37. And now maybe we want to turn on the average row. So like clients who have been active in 2023 have received an average of 2.06 services, whatever that means at this point. Okay. This is pretty much it for basic skills. I would say start with that. There's so much more we can do. Play around with this in your system. If you feel like you're getting the hang of it and you're really good at doing these types of things, feel free to watch the advanced video that will accompany this one. So if you're in the EmpowerDB documentation world, it should be very clearly next to this one. Or if you're looking at this on YouTube, it should be a separate link in the description of this video. And again, just we do a lot to try to make this reporting tool easy and intuitive, but reporting is hard. Like, it's complicated. Don't feel bad if you're getting frustrated. We want to help you if you're getting frustrated. Let us know how we can help you if you're getting frustrated. You got to send us a link to the report you're looking at. You got to tell us what you're seeing that isn't matching with what your expectations are. Try to tell us in a way, and by try, I mean definitely do tell us in a way that doesn't include copying and pasting client names or other confidential information that we can't even see because we don't have your encryption key. But feel free to reach out for help if you have more questions about this kind of stuff. All right. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope I was able to help. Bye.